Today, we're going to talk about how prolonged thumb sucking, binky use, and bottle use can impact healthy facial growth and development. When, why, and how to stop. Sucking habits are emotional topics for many parents and their families. Oral habits are often developed as a coping mechanism for self-soothing. While a sucking habit can breathe soothing to an upset child, it can also have an impact on healthy growth and development of the face, airway, teeth, and mouth. These sucking habits can be grouped into a list of habits known as non-nutritive sucking habits, meaning they don't get nutrition from this sucking action. There could be pacifiers, blankets, sucking on your fingers, sucking on your thumb, sucking on clothing. All these are a comforting behavior for children. Thumb sucking and pacifier sucking are an activity that are adaptive function that provides stimulation and self-soothing. They tend to stop between the age of 2 and 4 in most cases. Babies and children begin sucking their thumb as a reflex. Many of them begin in the womb, and it helps them feel safe and secure. This behavior can go into when they're bored and can extend into adulthood for similar reasons. Adults may suck their thumb as a result of stress, anxiety, or an emotional trauma. Oral habits can have an impact on the way a child swallows and breathes. It can also predispose them to chronic mouth breathing or tongue thrusting. So the earlier you can stop a pacifier or sucking habit, the better. The American Academy of Pediatric Dentistry recommends reducing pacifier use by the age of 18 months. The good thing about this is Munchie has a baby munchie that you can transition. It helps get your tongue where it needs to breathe, helps stimulate chewing, and you could begin that as early as 18 months. So you can switch out the pacifier to the Munchie. So you can also reach out to me and I can talk to you more about that if you're trying to break this habit for your child. It's important to stop because thumb sucking, finger sucking have negative consequences, not only for deformity of the thumb, the fingers, the nail, but the teeth and the facial structures. Form follows function. So when your tongue is not in the roof of your mouth and your thumb is on the roof of your mouth, blocking to be able to suction, it's going to affect the function, which is now going to change the form. How your mouth develops could be related to a sucking habit. So a normal bite is when the upper teeth go over the lower teeth like a box top. Your tongue acts as a natural palatal extender. When you keep your tongue up, it will make it wider. When your tongue is down and your thumb is up, it's going to create it more vaulted. Or it can create an open bite, and then the kids can't bite into a sandwich. And then that can turn into a tongue thrust because now that's open. The form and the function are working together, hence form follows function. So you've created that form and now the function goes through there and you create a tongue thrust swallow. So it's another habit that you're going to have to break your child up. Sometimes they need braces. If you do not break that habit though, and you wear braces, the braces are going to relapse, causing that to open up again because you haven't changed that habit. If this habit persists, it can affect the permanent teeth if you don't correct these habits. So it's really important that you look at this sooner than later. There are dental appliances that you can use that can help modify this. You can quit cold turkey, but we really have to modify the behavior, and there's different things that you can do. I do habit elimination, so you can reach out to me and we can talk about that. But the development of sucking itself is a primitive reflex that develops in infancy. And parents like to introduce pacifiers to help them calm down because it's something they can take away. There was a study done in Italy that reported sometimes the thumb is helping them breathe better. So we want them to be able to regulate and we want them to be able to breathe. There are certain things that you can do to help your child regulate. Breathing is one of them. So they can breathe in and breathe out. If you teach your kids breathing, that can help them self-regulate also. We don't teach our children some of these self-regulating habits, so our body just compensates. So if we can teach our child to self-soothe that doesn't involve some of these habits, it can help them stop from leading to dental or skeletal malformation. because it can change the shape of the face depending on what's happening with these habits. So these are all reasons about why you want to stop. When you want to stop, 18 months, no later than the age of 4. And there are different things that you can do to wean your child off of these sucking habits. But if you don't do it correctly, it can be a traumatic experience for your child. So you want to do it when there's no big changes happening. If you're going through a divorce, you're not going to want to try to eliminate one of these self-soothing habits, right? So again, you don't want to do it when there's any major changes, teething, illness, moving, a divorce. You want to do it around 6 months, 18 months, and 2 years. Sometimes you can just take the pacifier away. It's called cold turkey. But your baby might need a pacifier to self-soothe. They might need it for naps. So maybe take it away during the day and give it to them during naps. That's going to be gradual. If you take it away during naps and go cold turkey, each time they go into a nap, it'll be easier for them to break the habit. Sometimes as soon as 3 days for some kids. You just take it away and they're done. But the gradual method, if your child needs this to self-soothe, you take it away during the day and you give them rewards. So this is replacing a pacifier with another tool. You can replace it with a Myo-Munchie. You can do it in a 3-step process. Take it away, give them a Myo-Munchie during the day, give them a pacifier at night when they sleep. I don't recommend giving the Myo-Munchie when they sleep, but you want them to not be reliant on a pacifier for self-soothing. Some kids suck to soothe themselves, and you as a mom are going to know whether your kid is a habit or whether they need it as self-soothing. Follow your mom instincts. Your child may be different. I got my child to break the thumb sucking habit cold turkey, and then she started sucking her fingers, and that was even harder to break. She did that till she was 13. We went through a divorce, and so that wasn't a good time after I broke the thumb sucking habit for me to break the finger sucking habit because it was self-soothing. As a mom, as a myofunctional therapist, as a dental hygienist, I like to transition to a Myo-Munchie because I feel like it encourages proper tongue function and proper chewing. It's a great transition into big kid status. You can trade it out. That's what I recommend. I don't recommend, again, putting him to sleep with the Myo-Munchie. So this might also be a sign of sleep disordered breathing or sleep apnea. According to recent reports, 75 to 90% of infants suck their thumb. Chances are someone in the family did it as well. So no worries. In most cases, they will outgrow it, but it's important that you pay attention to your child's habits and their behaviors and how this is affecting their overall health and well-being, not just their dental health, but their mental health. So again, a lot of times there's a reason your kids have these habits, not just a habit, especially at an early age. So if you saw them sucking their thumb in the womb in the ultrasound, this could be a habit that is going to probably be easier to break. If it's one that they developed later, it could be from a traumatic experience or something happened in their life, and that's how they self-soothe. This is going to be a little harder, and you're going to want to know why and how you're going to break these habits, and you want to do a more gradual approach versus a cold turkey, so you don't create another trauma. This is another reason why it's important to know why. Are they trying to bring their jaw forward because they can't breathe? Sometimes they do these things because they're having an airway issue and they're having a hard time breathing, and that's our body's way of compensating. So that's another thing we want to look at. Thumb sucking, teeth grinding. According to the American Dental Association, most children between the ages of 2 and 4 will simply just stop a thumb sucking habit or outgrow it. However, beyond preschool, sometimes it's definitely that they can't breathe. And it's an underdiagnosed issue. We're not looking at how kids are breathing. We're not correlating it with what's going on behaviorally, structurally, sleep-wise. So take note to when your child is sucking their finger and thumb. Is it passive? Is it to go to sleep? Is it when they're watching a movie? Is it when they're taking a nap in the car? How long have they been doing it? Are they putting pressure? How hard are they sucking? Are their teeth already kind of out of alignment? Do they have a vaulted palate? Are they having an airway issue? Prolonged sucking can actually create a need for orthodontic treatment in the future. So referring to a pediatric doctor or dentist, a pediatric airway orthodontist, I recommend an airway dentist because they know what to look for. I love Dr. Boyd. If you're close to Chicago, I would recommend seeing him because he understands the airway issues in the appliances, and he's great at helping educating parents and evaluating airway situations and knowing how to intervene. And he's one of the doctors that talks about and teaches this stuff. That's how I learned. He doesn't want to call it early interceptive orthodontics, but he teaches you how to intervene sooner so you can use your child's growth and development to help stop these issues. When we're talking about the soft tissues, the palate, the width, the molar to molar relationship, what's happening with the airway, what's happening with their tongue. They may need myofunctional therapy too. So I definitely recommend seeing somebody that can help you with airway and knows about airway, especially if they're a younger child. So when you're considering stopping a habit like this, you always want to be supportive. You never want to punish your child for sucking their thumb or their finger. You want to give them praise when they don't suck. You want to start a progress report. You can use stickers. You can use stamps. You can give them money. You can give them rewards. Whatever you feel is appropriate for your child, you want to make them an active participant in this so they're willing to break the habit and not make it a shameful thing that they're doing or yelling at them for doing it. You want to take note. When are they sucking? Is it long card rides? Is it watching a movie? Is it going to sleep? So we talked about that a little bit earlier. My daughter did that when she was tired. You want to create diversions and explain why they need to stop, why you're wanting them to stop. And notice if they're anxious. Is sometimes we can put a Band-Aid or a sock over their thumb. My mom did that. She tried that stuff that made it taste bad. She used tobacco sauce. I still sucked my thumb. Tabasco sauce got in my eye and made my eyes burn. So none of these things worked for me. So it was definitely self-soothing for me, but we didn't talk about that back then. I sucked my thumb and I didn't want my daughter to suck her thumb. So I broke that habit early and then she started sucking her fingers. And for her, it was a self-soothing thing. So we approached it a little bit differently than I would if it wasn't. We didn't want to go cold turkey with all of this. So whatever method you choose, you just need to know that your child needs support and understanding during this process to break this habit. No matter what habit is you're trying to break, habits are hard to break. But sometimes you need to consider counseling, depending on what it is, behavioral modification, changing the behavior in order to change what you don't want to do. So myofunctional therapy in combination with breaking a habit, it may help. You may need a body posture. You may need to figure out what's going on. An orthodontic appliance, a myo munchie. There are those little spurs that they put on the roof of your mouth to prevent you from sucking your thumb. I don't recommend that because it prevents you from putting your tongue up. And then it creates a whole nother issue. So it's completely opposite what we want for airway, breathing, and sleep, putting those prongs on the roof of their mouth to poke their tongue. Myofunctional therapy involves exercises to retrain the muscles, where you keep your tongue, swallowing, resting posture. Sometimes it's a multidisciplinary approach in order to address all these issues and break these habits and have your child be healthy overall. So if you suspect your child is having some of these things and you need some help, just go ahead and click the link below, call me, schedule a 15-minute consultation, and we can chat and figure out what's going on with you. If these habits persist, they can lead to airway, breathing, sleeping issues, and they can be misdiagnosed with ADHD, which my daughter was. Sleep and breathing and oxygen are essential to human development in a healthy daily life. Typical humans breathe more than 25,000 breaths a day, and they swallow more than 2,000 times a day. All of this can be affected by a sucking habit and create an overbite or other things that you don't want. So we want to make sure that we observe our children and we look to see, is it an oral myofascial functional disorder? Is it a habit? Is it something that we need to address? Are they having a sleep breathing disorder? Is it a combination of things? So there is strong research that correlates myofunctional disorders with sleep breathing disorders, with obstructive sleep apnea, with pediatric sleep apnea. And we have kids that are sleep wrecked. So this is something to consider what's happening with our kids. Make sure you contact someone that knows what they're talking about. Other resources I recommend are Sleep Wrecked Kids by Sharon Moore, Diane Barr's Nobody Ever Told Me or My Mother That. Everything from bottles to breastfeeding to healthy speech development. She's a speech pathologist. Breathe, Sleep, Thrive by Dr. Shireen Lim. These are all books that will talk to you about other things that are happening that maybe I didn't talk about here that will help you know what to look for with your child sleeping, breathing, and developing and thriving instead of just surviving. You learned today why you want to stop, how to stop, and where to get help. Hope this was helpful. And as always, a healthy mouth is a healthy body and a happy, healthy life. Till next time.